Have you ever wanted to use like an old game console, like a portable one, like a Nintendo 3DS or something that looks like a Game Boy as a digital audio player, but there's some obvious reasons why you can't, like the sound quality sucks and, well, it's not really meant to be used that way. This might be for you. This is the HIDIZS AP30 Music Boy. It is basically a non-Android digital audio player that is, well, designed with the aesthetic of a old school portable handheld game console, with, some really interesting Easter eggs inside. So if that sounds like you, if that sounds like something you gravitate towards, well, you might want to check this out because this is very interesting. This is launching very soon on Kickstarter, so HIDIZS sent me this a little bit early, so I've had this for about 2 weeks now, almost 14 days, to use it every day. I've been using it as my daily driver DAP, and I'm now ready to, I guess, tell everyone here what I think about it and how my actual experience with it was. So I am HiFi-Dawson, and you are watching a review of the HIDIZS AP30 Music Boy. So as I mentioned, this is launching on July 23rd on Kickstarter. It will come in 2 different material types, so plastic and aluminum. This is the plastic one here. And the plastic one has three different colors, while the aluminum one will have 2 different colors. And there are different price points because of the material choices, which we will get into shortly. So, before getting into any of the specs or anything like that, full disclosure, like I said, HIDIZS did send this to me for review, and they did not tell me what to say. They did not tell me what I cannot say. They basically said go nuts. So here I am, going nuts, telling you everything I think about this thing. So all thoughts and opinions in this video are my own. So before getting to the specs, who is this for? As I mentioned earlier, this is for someone looking for a kind of retro-ish design. It's also very portable and lightweight. So if you want a travel-friendly DAP, this might be for you. It also comes with an interesting case to magnetically snap on the back of your smartphone, assuming you have like a MagSafe connection. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I want to check that out. There is no internet connectivity or online connectivity, so if you want something completely offline with no possible chance, either because just that's what you want or there are some, like, let's say, work-related restrictions around that kind of thing, this might be for you. And if you are kind of an anti-touchscreen person, this is not a touchscreen, it's buttons, clicky buttons only, you might like this. And of course, lastly, if you do not want to participate in the Google ecosystem with using an Android DAP, this is probably for you. Who this is not for? This is not for if you need lots of output power, because this does not have a lot. This is not for someone who has a large library. This only has support for up to 256 gigabyte micro SD cards. And I'm not really sure on the track limit, but let's say it's going to be under 10,000. This is not going to be for people who hate buttons that are clicky. This is not for people who want customization and a boatload of quality of life features such as gapless playback or M3U playlist support, because it does not have any of that. It's very, let's say, toned down in that respect. So if any of those things apply to you, this is not for you. All right, let's get into it properly. Let's bring up the specs here of the HIDIZS AP30 Music Boy. So as I mentioned, so it's launching on Kickstarter, so that means that there is some special pricing because there is the Kickstarter price and there is the official, MSRP price, I called it. So the Kickstarter price is $85 US for the plastic version and $93 US for the aluminum, while the official MSRP will be $119 US for the plastic and $129 for the aluminum. Now I differentiate them because, in the past, HIDIZS did the same thing with the AP80 Pro Max, which I did review not too long ago. And I actually bought that one off of Kickstarter. And interestingly, they more or less kept the same price that they launched it in Kickstarter for after they properly released it into the retail channels. So they might do the same thing here. We'll see. I guess cost of components might play into that, but just be aware of that. So I want to bring it up because I don't want to influence people to be like, yeah, you need to go get it now because of the price. I don't want you to do that. I want you to only get it because you you need that device because it suits your requirements. Don't get sucked into the hype, I guess. The outputs are the 3.5 millimeter single-ended and the 4.4 millimeter balanced output with a USB-C for data and charging. As you can see, there's not that much output power for the 3.5 and the 4.4 millimeter, but I will get more into that in the sound quality section. So there's no Wi-Fi, which means there's no music streaming app support on here. And it uses Bluetooth 5.3 with only SBC codec support, nothing else. We got some pretty decent file format support and sample rate support. So this is kind of what we do see in the, let's say, sub $75 range, especially with like these Snow Sky devices. Usually they max out at 24-bit 192 kilohertz for PCM. And that's what we're seeing here too. So it actually uses the same CPU as the Snow Sky Echo lineup does. It's that, what's it called? The Rock chip RK Nano D. It's a very like low power embedded SoC that's used. Good for like, stuff like this where you want it small, compact, cheap, and low power. But limitations with that, such as no gapless playback. This uses a proper DAC chip, a CS43198 DAC, and a proper amplifier with an RT6863, if that means anything to you. No internal storage. There is like 200 megabytes of internal storage, but I mean, that's used for firmware updates and stuff. You're not going to be able to utilize that. Like I mentioned, it has micro SD card support up to 256 gigabytes, 1100 milliamp hour battery for up to 12 hours of playback, a 2-inch HD non-touch display with a 296 by 240 resolution, and HIDIZS says it runs something called HIDIZS OS, which gives me some Hibi OS vibes, not just because of the name, but because of the style too a little bit. But this is definitely something different than we have seen on other devices. And of course, it is a very light device, at least the plastic one, at 56 grams. As you can see, there is a quite substantial uptick in weight with the aluminum one. It's about 24 grams. And just to reiterate the notes I have at the bottom, no M3U playlist support, at least currently in this video. As of this video, no gapless playback support. There is no support for external USB-C DACs or USB-C headphones. And the controls do not work when the screen is off. We will get more into that, though, in the user experience section. So, what comes in the box? Well, there is the box. There is the DAP itself, the AP30. There is a USB-C to USB-A data and charging cable. There is a manual, which you will need to reference for button combinations, which I will get into shortly. We've got our, quality certification information, and we have a spare screen protector. Is there one on here? Yes, there is one on here. That's right. There is one on here because I pulled off that protective cover. When you put them on, there's a protective cover, you pull it off. When it came, I did that. So yes, there is one on here, and you get a spare one here. Kind of nice they actually do that. I do like that. And then this kind of stuff here. So there's this case, and then there's these like magnets. And this is some feedback that I did actually give them because I was confused. What the hell do you do with these things? Because basically these magnets were not in the case. And as you can see, there is a cutout here to put the magnet in the case. And so it took me a little bit of time to figure it out, but the magnet that's in here is from here, and it's just a sticky thing, and you put it in this thing, and it does fit after some jiggling. And then you also have this guy here, which it does look like on this side you can pull off, and it's like a, sticky part that you would pull off here, and it will be able, and this would probably go onto your phone or case or whatever, and then you can magnetize it. Although this is not a very strong magnet. And to be honest, the magnet on here is not that strong either. I can't show you using the iPhone 16 that I have because I'm using it to record this video, but I tried using it with it, and it's basically like this. So put it in the case, and then I put it on the phone, and if I pick this up with the phone will fall off after a little bit of jiggling. It's not immediate, but this is the same problem I've had with numerous magnetic case attachments for various devices, like digital audio player and audio devices, and no one can seem to make a very strong magnet, and it's a little bit disappointing because I really like this feature. it is really cool to just like snap this on the back of something and then you're good to go. Otherwise, this is just a very simple case. Nothing too special about it, and you get a little lanyard hole here. So if you want to like make a little lanyard loop and have this dangling and do that, you can do that. So that is what you get in the box. I'm sure there'll be, oh, and this USB-C to USB-C OTG cable. So this is if you want to use like the USB DAC functionality, although you can really use it for anything. That's what you get in the box. Pretty decent for the price point. Let's just say for now it's under $100 because it's just easier to think about the economics of that. All right, I'm gonna put the manual over there because I will probably have to refer to that soon, but let's get into the actual design of this thing. So first I'm gonna clean off the screen because it's a little bit mucky there, and then I'm gonna zoom in. And there we go. So this is the HIDIZS AP30 Music Boy. I wanted to say Game Boy. It's the Music Boy. And well, this is the black transparent version, and I really do like this transparent aesthetic. I was telling some people before that I think this kind of reminds me of like my Nintendo 64. I never had a like Game Boy really that much, but I had an N64. I had the purple transparent one, and that was really cool with the controllers too, right? And as you can see here, it is actually all transparent, and maybe not the most appealing insides here, but you can still see it, and I still think that adds to the aesthetic. So literally the whole thing is transparent. They're not hiding anything here. So very cool, very, very cool. There's this whale on here because HIDIZS partners with the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Foundation, something to that effect, the WDC. And I think part of the sales of this go towards that conservation group, and I know HIDIZS has been working with that group for a while now on various other products, so that's why there is a whale here. And so if that's something that matters to you, well, that's kind of cool. So basic branding on this on the back, HIDIZS, and then the name, high resolution, portable music player. It feels plasticky. It doesn't feel dense. It is all plastic. Obviously there is an aluminum version if you want to go that route. But, you know, it is pretty nicely, like, designed overall, isn't it? Smooth edges. It's not there's no, like, you know, plasticky, from the mold, you know, sometimes there might be, like, those little, like, edges that it pulls it off the mold. There's nothing like that here. It's all very smooth. Buttons are clicky. Actually, very clicky. They're very audible. Not that one. This is the scroll wheel. So basically you get like a D-pad, you get an A-B button, and then you get like, this would be like the, you know, function or back button. This would be like start, right? And they more or less operate the same way on here as they would on like, say, a Game Boy or something. But and then yes, this volume wheel here is a Japanese ALPS volume wheel, and it is also a button that you press in. And then there's also a micro SD card slot here. And just to show you, I have a 256 gigabyte card. And if you ever want to know how to put a micro SD card in a DAP, I think I have mentioned this in one or two of my videos before, 75% of the time, it's with the bottom of the card facing towards the screen. 75% of the time, because for some reason it's not all the time. Pretty cool that, you know, you can see everything on here. There is like a little bit of flex on the back. Kind of hard to see, but not that much. It's basically you're pressing against the battery there. Kind of nice, you can see the battery, so if you end up getting the, you know, battery bloat, as sometimes happens in electronic devices, you can, you know, see that. But, you know, very cool. You can kind of see the scroll wheel going there. I do like that aesthetic. Very bottom here, we have a 3.5 millimeter output, 4.4 millimeter, and the USB-C port. A little bit close together for my liking to the USB-C port, but small device, so need to fit everything in here somehow. And well, I mean, you can see how small inside, right? How they literally had to put it all in there together. Very cool. I really do like this aesthetic. I do wish that, you know, more companies offered stuff in this kind of like fun colors, transparent, you know, shells, that kind of stuff. It does feel like it's built very well, so I do like that. The button controls, actually, why don't we turn it on here so we can go over that. So I'm just gonna hold that. It's gonna turn on. As you can see, it is welcome. So there's no touch screen, right? So you can just mark up the screen. Let's just clean that up a bit. So you have to use buttons to navigate everything. Now, if you have a D-pad here, that's very convenient. As you can see, very easy to navigate. A button is confirm, B button is go back, very simple. Basically this, the right black button here is like, play pause kind of thing. And if you want to go into the now playing screen, you're going to hold it like this. And it goes into the now playing screen. And I don't like when you do that, it starts playing the track. We'll get into that a little bit later though. Now, you would think to use this button to go back, but it doesn't actually do that. This is a function button. So this is basically like your right click. So this, if you click this, it brings you to music settings, and if you hold it, it will do like, this has like a A/B, it'll add it to favorites rather. Anyways, B for back, and if you hold it, you go back to the main screen. So there is sort of two ways to do it. There's like the single press functions, and then there is the long press functions. And that is why in the manual here, we get to the English section. There we go. They go through all of this in the manual. I still have to look this up because I just cannot memorize all of that. Or I just end up using too many devices that my brain doesn't comprehend. So actually, we're going to keep that open over there so I can reference it. So they're very clicky. They're very nice to use. It's basically, they're not like cushy responsive like you would find like on an actual game console. These are meant to be more practical in terms of navigation and stuff like that, which is, that's fine. I do like them. They're not bad. Maybe the audible clickiness would be annoying after a while, or if you're in like a very quiet place, like a library or something, then that might be distracting or annoying, but otherwise I think they're just fine. Volume wheel on the side here, so you can do this to manipulate the volume. I do like me a volume wheel, so it's very nice, and if you press it, the screen goes off. You press it, the screen goes on again. Hold it to power it off after a few seconds. So yeah, A is confirm, and I think holding A is actually the A-B repeat. That's right. So there is an A-B repeat. So basically, you can repeat a portion of a track. That's what holding that on the now playing screen does. And then holding the, I guess I'll call it the back button in a way. Holding that button will add a song to your favorites. So pretty straightforward button layout and context here. The screen quality is pretty decent, as you can see. Like, it's not gonna blow your mind, but it's a small screen, it's low resolution, but looks fun, looks nice. Like, there's colors, I like colors. If I actually go into the now playing screen, we can see like the album art here. And actually, maybe if we just go into like all songs, just because, screw it. And just kind of go through like a bunch. That was a good one. Kind of cool colors. It does the album art justice, but it doesn't look bland. Doesn't look too bland. So, a screen this small, you have to work with what you got, and they want to put all this information on here, which I do appreciate. So, it has enough definition. The text is readable. You do see some, layers of color within the album art. So, I appreciate that. I'm okay with that. It works for me. Overall, very decent screen for a device this size. So the overall UI, you have already seen the gist of it. So the reason I alluded to earlier, this is kind of like HiDIZS, is because it has the same kind of stuff on here, right? So you have this is your music library. And if we just get it in the screen better there. So you have your basic options in your music library. I'll go into this in depth a little bit later. We have this really cool thing, and this is Tetris. Yes, we have Tetris on here. It is the only game on here, and they have not said if they will add more or if they'll allow you to add more. It's a very low power chip. I don't know how they would do it. Oh my God. I can't remember which button does what. There we go. So I am actually not very good at Tetris. I am definitely not very good right now, especially trying to remember what the button combinations were. But it's Tetris. You can do anything you want in Tetris on here. I have not actually tried to finish a game. I have not played it that much. So forgive me, I was using it more as a digital audio player. But basically you can do Tetris, and the whole rest of this video is going to be me playing Tetris, so I hope you guys enjoy that, and let's have some fun. No, I am just kidding. So you can pause it, which is cool. As you can see, it's basic Tetris. You get a score, you know, after a while, and I think to go out of it, you have to hit that. Yes. So that's Tetris. There's also a text, text file reader. I don't have any text files on here, so if you want to read text files on here, go nuts. I don't recommend it. The screen's too small. This is the file explorer. So as you know, there's like this internal flash, as I indicated earlier. Only about 200 megabytes. It's not really worth putting anything on there, and it's just used for firmware updates. Then there's of course the SD card, and well, you can navigate all your folders this way. You know, it's your basic file browser. There's Bluetooth, so Bluetooth switch, and available and paired. It's a little bit finicky in terms of like what they actually do, but it does work. You turn it on and it's Bluetooth. Again, only the SBC codec. And here's the system settings. So basically all the system settings you need are in here. And I'm just gonna bring it up to the screen more so you can see. So date and time you can set. There's this thing, I don't know why, common settings, and then you go into it and it's just a screen off timer and brightness. But if I show you here, actually, you know what? Let's turn down the brightness of my thing. Maybe this will be a bit easier to see the screen. So this is the brightness level. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll keep it on 5. And then obviously a screen off timer. I put it to 3 minutes for now, but I would use, well, something less for battery economy reasons. Time shutdown. We have some filters here. So nice to see the basic filter options. It is using the Cirrus Logic 43131 DAC chip. So, you know, these are the basic filters you get with that chip. Gain adjustments, you have low and high gain. Always nice to see that. So obviously low gain if you want to use sensitive IEMs. Information just tells you some, well, basic stuff in here. And language. So lots of languages in here. And then this is the initialize. This is basically like if you want to factory reset stuff or just reset the settings or even format the SD card. I do appreciate when you are allowed to format the SD card on the device. And if we go into the now playing screen and we go into the music settings, I will show you the music settings. So from here is where you can turn the shuffling on and off and what kind of order you want, so repeat, stuff like that. There's also this thing called scanning mode, and it's not what you think. It's actually the fast forward and rewind behavior. So uniform it means it's consistently just going forward and back in a track by holding the left and right D-pad. Accelerating means it'll start slow and then get faster. Pretty understandable. I guess that's kind of actually it, to be honest. There's really not much in here. Oh, there is the equalizer. So it's a pretty standard equalizer, I would say. So as you see, we have some presets here, right? And then this is the unique one, which you can do. But equalizer, just basically a 5-band. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, see. Plus or minus 6 dBs, and well, these are the frequencies that you can modify. It's for like very basic stuff. You're not gonna get a PEQ or anything, you know, in this. So not bad for such a, you know, simple, we'll call it, device. Those are all the music settings. So, you know, it doesn't do too bad of a job. This is the now playing screen, and it's also very basic. So at the very top, it tells you the track numbers. You know, so if I'm playing all tracks in this thing, I guess. I definitely have more than 452 tracks, so I'm wondering if it just didn't scan them all. And then obviously this is telling you the like play behavior, the play pause. So if I hit play, it goes to play icon, and if I pause, it goes to pause icon. It's normal mode, and this is the battery icon. I do wish there was a battery percentage, but you know, I guess they're not able to present that to us the way they measure the battery. This gives you all the information on the track playing, so what type of file it is, the band, the album, the genre, and then of course the file name for the name of it. And if you just go right and left, well, it just does that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, let's look at some better looking album arts here. You can see, not too bad. Pretty cool. I do like that. That's a good actually example. So you can kind of see there's even a bit of detail in there, but not bad. And then obviously to play, you hit the play button and it will play. And if you want to go forward, like fast forward, you can do that. You can also rewind. And as you saw, I was doing back and forth for the tracks, up and down. It does kind of the same thing. And then of course, volume. And if you want to go out of the screen, you can just hit B to go back. And if you want to go back to the main menu completely, you just hold B. You just hold B. There we go. Pretty simple. And then from here, or from even here, you can go into the now playing screen by holding the play pause. So they do have some nice shortcuts within the UI here, so you can navigate it a bit easier without constantly clicking into things. I do like that. When you first put in the micro SD card, it will automatically scan. There's no way to manually scan it. As I mentioned, the controls don't work. I guess right now, to be clear, we're talking about playing music, syncing music, and playlists, that kind of thing. The controls don't work when the screen is off. So, yep. Controls don't work when the screen is off. I'm disappointed with that. This does not include Bluetooth controls for some reason. So if you have a headphone or TWS earbuds with, the controls on them, they will work when the screen's off. These physical controls don't work. Very disappointing because I do want to change things like the volume and the next track or hitting play pause when the screen is off without having to wake up the screen every damn time. I'm sure that can be, resolved in a firmware update, but it is disappointing that it is not something that is just, initially in the device. So, anyways, if we go through here, I will show you something, and it is this playlist folder. So I have these M3U files on here, and they do not work. Yep. So as I mentioned before, this doesn't support playlists at all. You get a favorites section here in the music library section. So you have a now playing screen, all songs, artists, as you can see, it's going to use the artist tag, not album artist. So be aware of that. Albums, genres, your file browser, and then of course my favorite. I don't have anything in my favorites, so no playlists is very disappointing. Gapless playback, lack of gapless playback I could forgive if there was playlists. So I had the same concerns about the Snow Sky Echo Nano. No gapless, no playlist support. Very disappointing, although that is almost half the price of this, so interesting. As I mentioned, putting the micro SD card, taking it out and putting it in will make it scan. So for me, it took about 3 minutes to scan, just under 3 minutes, and there was, I think, about 69 or 7,100 tracks on here, mostly FLAC, actually almost all FLAC. Not bad. I would appreciate incremental scanning, and I would appreciate a way to, I guess there actually was a way to do it within here. No, there's not actually. So there is no way to manually force it to refresh the music library unless you take it out and put it back in. That also includes plugging it into a computer, having it seen as an external device, and then unplugging it. That will force it to rescan everything as well. So be aware of that. So just to be clear, any changes you make for your on your SD card, adding files, removing files, you will have to rescan it to for it to detect any changes, which is why it most likely does that when you take the card out and put the card back in. Disappointing, maybe a bit, but not end of the world in my opinion. Bluetooth. So I'm not going to go too far into Bluetooth here because it is only supporting the SBC codec, and on a device like this, I'm pretty sure most people do not care about Bluetooth. Bluetooth performance is, well, it's decent. It's for almost everything I used, so that includes Bluetooth headphones and earbuds. This worked fine. The only thing that did not work fine is AirPods. And yes, this is a known problem on pretty much all DAPs that only support the SBC codec. So, because it has to connect at SBC, not AAC. And even though the AirPods do support SBC, they do not play well with these types of devices. So it will pair, but as soon as you pause the music and you go to play it again, won't work. Just flat out refuses to play music until you reconnect it, and then it'll play music again until the next time you pause it. And the funny thing is, it only does it this way is for you if you're using the controls on the AirPods. If you're only using the controls on here, it will be perfectly fine. But if you choose to use the AirPod, like I use my AirPods 4, the ANC version, if you use the stem controls to play pause or try to go to the next track, once you pause it and then play it again, no music until you repair it. So that is something to be aware of if you are an AirPods user. Although personally, I do not think you should buy a device like this for Bluetooth as a main as your main listening source. This can be used as a actually, can it be used as a Bluetooth DAC? I don't believe so, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I did try to pair it with my phone, and I was not very happy to do that. But again, it supports SBC, so you're only getting the SBC codec. Battery life. So battery life is maybe one of the more positive aspects of this device. So HIDIZS says to expect about 10 to 12 hours on the 3.5 millimeter and 8 to 10 on the 4.4 millimeter. And interestingly, 6 to 8 hours using Bluetooth. And supposedly it has 60 days of standby. So in reality, in my usage, which is some screen usage while I'm, listening to the thing, I was getting about 10.5 hours on the 3.5 millimeter output and 8 hours on the 4.4. So not quite at the top end of what they said it would be, but not too bad either. So I would categorize this as acceptable and actually quite decent for, well, the size. Charging takes just under an hour and a half, so not too bad either. Standby performance, even though they say that it's going to be 60 days of standby, I don't think it's going to be the case. So this was fully charged yesterday, and I did some listening on it today, but not too much, and it's already at half. And that's without turning it off. So I think maybe at most, you're going to get 2 to 3 weeks of standby performance of a fully charged app, just leaving it on, but with the screen off, somewhere on a shelf. Not that you should do that anyways. If you're not going to use it for a long period of time, turn it off like a normal person. If you are a non-normal person who doesn't turn theirs off, I'm sorry I offended you, but I just think it should be that way. Overall user experience. So very positive because it plays music and it looks cool and the buttons work and it, well, generally actually functions like it should because you can put a card in, it scans it, and you play music that's on the card, and you have like good, outputs on here, and the buttons all do what they're supposed to do, and it works. I do wish there was maybe some themes for the screen because I hate, bright mode, white mode, whatever you want to call it. I am a dark mode guy. I like it easy on the eyes, especially at night. And the brightness on here, as I did show you, the lowest brightness, it doesn't get that dark. So a dark mode would really help with that regard. Yeah. Wanted to be properly zoomed in there. There we go. Yeah, so those are my real complaints aside from no gapless playback support and no playlist support. And no battery percentage. Oh, and the other thing too is inline controls don't work. At least I haven't gotten anything that has inline controls to work. Even though on their website it says that headphones with microphones supposedly are compatible, but I mean, if you can't, I mean, you can't use a microphone on this thing, so it would have to mean the controls. But I had tried 4 different IEMs with inline controls and they did not work, so I don't know. At least on the Bluetooth side, that worked. So, you know, again, like on the overall user experience side, overall positive, because it's a very interesting looking device and it functionally does what it needs to do. And you can even go in, while you're listening to music, by the way, you can play Tetris. It doesn't overtake the music. So that's pretty cool. Let's talk about the output power and noise floor. So these are very positive aspects in my opinion, because let's do this. There we go. Because on the sound quality like department, in terms of like what you can drive and what kind of sensitive IEMs you can use, this thing kicks ass. So I don't have them here, but I was testing my Campfire Audio Andromeda 10, and there was no noise floor that I could hear on this thing. No background hiss at all, no noise, nothing. It was perfect, it was beautiful. Even on my SimGot EA 1000s, which are kind of like sensitive, you know, IEMs, I did not hear anything. Man, cannot get a good position of that. My camera does not want to focus. Yeah, so basically, you know, it's great with all IEMs. Just to pull up a few examples here, the DN242, I really like this IEM. Sounds great on here, on just the 3.5. I'm just talking about the 3.5 right now. I did try the 4.4 millimeter with some sensitive IEMs, and there was no noise floor either. Although for IEMs, I don't think you need the 4.4. There is enough output power on the 3.5 millimeter for pretty much all IEMs. Anyways, the DN242 is a really nice IEM, and it works perfectly on here. I have the Tantjim OLA2. Not hard. None of these are hard to drive, right? Nothing crazy here, but these sound really good on here. I'll have a review on these soon. So these work perfectly fine, and these do have inline controls, as you see, and they did not work on this. Same goes for the SIVGA SM100. These also have inline controls, and they did not work. But this is a nice IEM. I like this IEM because the shape is really small, really nice, very similar to the OLA2. This is like my kind of go-to portable IEM because it is just very comfortable for me to wear. There's no microphonics in the cable, and it just, well, sounds great too. So great pairing here as well. And then of course, something a little bit more demanding, even though it's not demanding, is the Cranial Reference. It's just a very technically proficient IEM, and so this and the DN242, both kind of hybrid IEMs, you know, they have those special qualities, and they both sound great with the AP30 Music Boy. Very happy about those. And I will just pull up a couple of other examples here. So headphones. So this is the Sennheiser HD 505, the Copper Edition, Special Edition, whatever you want to call it. It's the, oh, it doesn't have it on here. That's right. Ah, there we go. The 505. This is a 120 ohm headphone. So don't let the like output impedance or the output power of, what was it? It's going to be 61 milliwatts. Yeah, 61 milliwatts. Don't let that fool you. It drove these just fine on high gain. But again, I didn't have to crank up the volume like crazy amounts to get it. Sounded great with this thing. As did this. This is the SIVGA SV021 Pro version 2. Great closed-back headphone, actually. One of my favorite closed-back headphones. Sounds great with this too. A lot of great, you know, I don't really want to talk about synergy on such a more budget device, but all these things sound great with the AP30. So if you are worried about not being able to drive a lot of this stuff, don't worry, this thing will drive it. Unless your headphones are very hard to drive, like, you know, mid-range, higher end ones, don't worry about it. I don't think you'd be using it with this thing anyways. And as far as IEMs go, perfectly fine. So I'll just bring this up here because I forgot about it. These are the wired devices that I mainly used for listening to the AP30 Music Boy. So the Campfire Audio Iris, the Cranial Reference. I did mention the Andromeda 10, but I didn't listen to it all the time on here. Focal Azurus was another headphone I used, although it's a very efficient headphone, so of course it should be fine. So again, I tried 4.4 and 3.5 millimeter for those IEMs. It all sounded good. No background noise, just honestly fantastic that this budget-oriented digital audio player will present such a black background. It's kind of amazing, actually. So that brings us actually into the sound quality department then. This uses a CS43198 DAC. I think I did earlier say 43131 when I was talking about the filters, and that is not correct. But they are Cirrus Logic filters. No, this is using the newer 43198 DAC chip, which is, I like this DAC chip. It's pretty reliable. It doesn't have a lot of distortion usually. And they pair this with a pretty basic amplifier chip, so that's why the low output power. Again, PCM support up to 24-bit 192 kilohertz and DSD 64, 128, and 256 playback. Because this is not a complicated DAC design or internal design, and because this is also not a really high-end device, I'm not going to go too much into the details of the sound quality, but it does present a very clean, balanced presentation. It's very, overall, fairly neutral and crisp and controlled. If I had a complaint, it would maybe be that it slightly lacks dynamics, but I think that's more just the price point. And the overall design, because this isn't going to color anything. It's going to be presenting, what you plug into it with what it is. I never really felt like it held anything back, but when you're using kind of higher end stuff like the Andromeda 10, you do tend to notice the lack of dynamics and micro detail just a little bit. Technical performance is good for this size and this price. You get good, imaging separation. You get a good, soundstage. When I'm saying good, I'm saying average, as you would expect it. It doesn't feel like it's constraining anything or it's exaggerating anything to that degree. So it is a fun little music player, and I think they did a good job implementing the sound quality because it just sounds good and it is not complicating anything. And I think that's what you want in a device like this. So, getting into my final thoughts of the AP30 Music Boy. Man, I really want to say either Game Boy or Pro Max because I have those stuck in my head. Damn you, HIDIZS. The HIDIZS AP30 Music Boy. So this is a very good music-only, offline music only device with a very fun, retro aesthetic with, well, at least one cool game of Tetris in here if you really want to, be able to do that while you're on the go, just as like a nice little pass the time kind of thing. It lacks, modern quality of life features like gapless playback and M3U playlist support and, well, support for large micro SD cards and large libraries. And things like you can't use the controls when the screen is turned off. So if those things bother you, I would say you should not be considering this, at least for right now. I am always of the mind that you should purchase a product based on what it can do now, not what is promised in the future. And because it just happens too often now that companies will promise all these things and then take forever to implement it or never implement it. So I'm not saying that's what HIDIZS is doing. I'm just saying if this does what you want now and you're considering this and it fits your budget and everything, then you know what, go for it. It's great for that purpose. Output power is good enough. Price is complicated given the current market conditions because it is affected by the supply of all these components. And I imagine that the price could go up because some companies have raised their prices. But at the current price, I'm going to just talk about the Kickstarter price. So at the current price of $85 for this version, the plastic version, and $93 for the aluminum, and I'm talking US dollars. This is, I'm going to say decent. Not good, not great, just decent. Why? Because there are cheaper options that do more and offer more features and maybe even a little bit better performance, but not to an insane degree. Again, they don't have the retro aesthetic and they don't have the non-touchscreen aspect. A lot of those other competing devices like the HiBi R1 and Tempotech Variations V1 and the Snow Sky Echo Mini and Nano and Snow Sky Disc for that matter, since this is right in that price range. I think this does a lot of things correctly. And if HIDIZS is able to improve on the software a little bit, I think this could be a real winner, not just because of the cool design, but functionally, you know? I want a functional music player that has at least playlist support. Give me that at least. If I had that, I wouldn't complain about the gapless or about the lack of the switching between album artist and artist. But that's my thoughts on it. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. Does the retro aesthetic draw you in? And are you okay with the lack of those said features that, well, concern me? Or does it not matter and you just want to put a card in and plug headphones or IEMs in and just play music and not care? That's fine too, by the way. If that's all you want to do, that's perfectly cool. There's no one right way for any of this to work, right? It's purely about what fits your requirements and your needs. So that is my review of the HIDIZS AP30 Music Boy. This launches officially on Kickstarter on July 23rd. I will put all the links in the description below to the Kickstarter campaign, to the product page, all that stuff. There's no affiliate links for any of this stuff, just because I don't think it would be correct to do it for a Kickstarter thing. So they're going to be just regular links. And maybe do me a favor, and if you like this video, hit like and maybe subscribe to my channel so I can keep doing content like this. And also check out my website, HiFi-Oasis.com. I have a pretty cool DAP guide on there where I try to keep everything sort of listed with specs and showing you basically what's available, and also linking to any reviews I've done. So I have done both video and written reviews. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.